It's the 1980s and culture is growing. Kids are experiencing the golden age of cinema, games, and fashion. One classic film influences a slew of professional skaters, and the sports will influence a young Virgil Abloh, leading the Chicago native to immerse himself in the world of hip-hop, streetwear, and sports. Virgil's passion for the culture will drive him to revolutionize the fashion industry. In this video essay, we'll be discussing the unnecessary hate of Virgil Abloh. Sometimes I think everything I draw is just a combination of all the millions and millions of drawings I've seen. Dash Shaw. The beloved designer sadly lost his life back in November of 2021 after battling cancer. But Abloh wasn't always loved. Virgil often faced criticism. Many will criticize his designs or say he was copying other creatives. But Virgil will often use a method called the 3% rule, in which an artist creates something entirely new by only changing the product by 3%.
You're trying to challenge yourself to invent something new, try to be so avant-garde that has zero place. Basically, that's impossible. I have my sort of 3% approach. Right now, I'm only interested in editing something 3% from its original form. I'm basically tired. It might be too old, but I found that things are intriguing to me when they're slightly edited, like these shoes.
We often see this method used with Virgil Abloh's Nike design. For instance, he switched up the classic Chicago ones and made them his own by turning the shoe inside out and revealing stitching incorporated with the shoe's Nike swoosh. However, Virgil isn't the only artist who uses what he called the 3% rule. Have you ever heard of this quote? "Good artists copy, great artists steal." The quote is by Pablo Picasso. I first heard this quote from Quentin Tarantino, in which he stated, "Great artists steal, they don't pay homages." Everyone is aware that Quentin is known for being a thief in the film world. I'm pretty sure that many of you are not even aware that Kill Bill is actually based on a manga from the 70s called Lady Snowblood, which was later adapted into a movie. Also, Quentin Tarantino takes quotes from other movies and inserts them into his scripts. Tarantino basically pulls from movies he loves and makes it his own thing. We can even go as far as mentioning furniture design. Have you ever seen this chair? Of course you have. It's called the Seska chair. It was designed by Marcel Breuer back in 1928. Marcel failed to copyright the Seska design, and as a result, many furniture brands replicated the chair and made it their own. The same can be said for the classic mushroom lamp, which is sold for thousands of dollars, but other furniture brands sell it for $3. All of this implies that nothing is truly original and artists can be inspired by other artists. I believe Virgil got too much flack for what he has contributed to the fashion industry. Many people discredit his work because he didn't attend fashion school. However, I think most of the criticism came after he was hired as the head honcho of menswear at Louis Vuitton. In 2020 wouldn't be a good year for the designer. He will face backlash on top of backlash. 2020 was the year of COVID. Everyone was stuck inside their home and couldn't escape the harsh reality of police brutality on their television screen. Many upset, they took the streets to protest the death of George Floyd. Amid the protests, Virgil decided to donate money to demonstrators who needed bail funds during the intense protests and looting. The fashion designer took a screenshot of him donating $50 and the internet went on fire. Virgil explained that he was matching funds with someone, but we are not going to count Virgil's pockets, but we all can assume that the designer was comfortable since he was the head of Louis Vuitton and had a partnership with Nike, as well as running his brand Off-White. People thought the designer could have contributed more with the donations. A Twitter user wrote, "Virgil Abloh can put quotation marks on some clothes, but can put commas on a donation." But in Virgil's defense, we don't know how much money he contributed in donating funds to organizations that support Black communities and fight against police brutality. A month later, Abloh received a great deal of criticism due to an album cover he designed. He was hired to design the album cover of the late Pop Smoke, who was fatally shot back in 2020. Fans were outraged after they seen the effort the designer put into Pop's posthumous album. Social media users quickly called out Abloh's design, as the album's photo is the first Google image that appears when searching for the late rapper. However, the designer revealed that the album's artwork was inspired by a conversation he had with the rapper, in which he, quote, drew inspiration from how his story felt like the metaphor of a rose and thorns growing from the concrete of his hood in Canarsie, Brooklyn. But criticism continued to pour in as fans dug up an old tweet from Virgil's Twitter that read, "Design is the latest scam. Quote me on that." The quote did not age well, and artists like 50 Cent and writer Rips called the designer out. Rips revealed on social media that Abloh stole his entire rose chrome concept. I believe his statement is a reach, in which I mentioned before that artists borrow ideas and flip it and make it their own design. I mostly see Virgil cover art as paying homage to Pop Smoke. The artwork reminds me of memorial t-shirts you will usually see at funeral service. Also, let's not sit here and act like Virgil never created amazing album covers. Black folks in America, we've got to work twice as hard to get half as far as our white counterparts. Michelle Obama. When Virgil was on this earth, he was not appreciated as a designer. I truly believe it had a lot to do with race. I understand some of the criticism, but the backlash was way too harsh, considering white designers in his league have done way worse. The critics indeed overshadowed his work as a person. Virgil was also down to help other young creatives. I enjoy watching his discussion with Jordan Bentley, who runs the streetwear brand Hypeland.
Also, it surprisingly takes less for a brand concept. The less it is, the stronger it is. The more focused, the more, when your brain starts drawing parallels between, say, like Olympics, Nintendo, and anime, then it can start to get a little bit like fuzzy as to like what does the brand really mean. The biggest trick in design that I use is just like hyper focus and then repeat. Make one thing and then it's like a template.
Virgil helped a young Jordan focus on one concept for his brand, and Jordan did just that. Abloh also provided free game. Literally, it's on his website. It's called Free Game. The link provides in-depth steps on how to screen print, how to market your brand. He also has links to scholarship funds and internship programs. Also a note, Virgil's advice strictly doesn't have to be for other designers, but anyone who wants to start a business. I suggest you guys binge watch several lectures posted on his YouTube channel. Every idea is a juxtaposition. That's it, a juxtaposition of existing concepts. Stephen Grant. For upcoming creatives, I suggest you read Still Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. In this book, Kleon addresses how nothing is original. He suggests artists to figure out what's worth stealing and move on to the next thing. He also has a graph that shows good theft versus bad theft. I will end this video on this quote: "Good artists copy, great artists steal." Thank you for watching. At Addictive News, we're dedicated to building a great platform. Follow us on social media at Addictive News or click the link in our bio.